Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be finishing up this epoxy by applying the clear coat, and then we're going to be talking about reviews of what we think about the epoxy. So stay tuned! Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to part 3. If you guys haven't seen part 1 and part 2, make sure you go check those out. And this episode, we're going to be talking about part 3. So in part 3, we're going to be applying this top clear coat. This top clear coat is also 100% solids epoxy. If you don't know what that means, go back and check part 1 and part 2. But pretty much what that means is there's no like solvents and stuff, so when it dries out, it maintains its thickness. So one of the good reasons about applying this clear coat is also it increases the thickness of the entire epoxy coating that you're putting on this floor. So according to their specs, if you apply it the way that they tell you to apply it or whatnot, it says it will produce somewhere around 19.4 millimeter thickness. So that's pretty thick layer of epoxy you're about to put on this floor. And this top clear coat being 100% epoxy, 100% solid epoxy, also helps reduce chemical wear, and it helps with the compressive resistance. So it's actually very good, especially if you're going to do a lot of work on this floor. So I want to make sure when you guys order it, it comes with this, okay? You also have an option to add a polyurethane coat, which you could, but I didn't do that, mainly because I don't have a lot of it's like one window in here, and I'm not too worried about the yellowing in the basement floor. But anyways, if you get the polyurethane, you would apply this clear coat and then wait for it to dry, then apply the polyurethane. Like I said, I'm not going to do that, but we're going to do this. So if you guys didn't realize that all the stuff that from epoxy coat is made in USA, well, at least the epoxy part is. Can't tell you about the tools and all the buckets and stuff like that. But anyways, they have a lifetime guarantee and all that fun stuff. Like I said in other videos, this is not a sponsored video. This is something that we ordered. We just found. We didn't talk to this company. No one's paying us. We're not endorsing this or any of that stuff. But anyways, here we're applying the epoxy, and like we told you in part 2, when you get part A, make sure you mix part A, which is pretty much going to be the resin 100%, before you mix it into the hardener. This resin is clear, so there's not you don't get like a bunch of coloring down at the bottom, but you still want to make sure it's mixed thoroughly before you mix it in with the hardener, because you want to get as clean of a mix, or as good of a mix as you can. So in part 2, we applied the flakes. In part 2, pretty much what you do is when you put the main coat of epoxy on, you toss up some flakes, or against the wall, whatever you want to do, get the flakes down. I went extremely light on the flakes, and I had a lot of flakes left over, okay? And I did a lot of experimenting on the floor, which I don't recommend you do, because you'll probably get a bunch of uneven designs or flake layout or whatnot, but I was okay with that, since this is pretty much just going to be a basement and workshop type place. So don't do what I did. Make sure you figure it out, like on a spare room or piece of paper or whatever it is. But I went really light on it. Some of the people go really heavy, and then whatever doesn't stick or get stuck to the epoxy floor coating, you just brush off. So if you're going to go thick on the flakes, make sure you get a brush it all off, and then get like a blower and blow all of the flakes that didn't bond to the epoxy off. But like I said, I think it looks better without the flakes. I'll throw up some clips later. But here, one of the reasons, another reason you want to add the clear coat of epoxy on is because when you drop the flakes and the flakes get into the epoxy, it becomes more of a rough surface. It's pretty much like the texture of like a sidewalk, where there's like a concrete blade, and then people run like a brush or bristles or something over it to give it like roughness, so you're not like slipping all over the place. But anyways, it's pretty much like that, and I wanted something that is not as slick, but not as rough as that. So when you put this epoxy coating on, at least in the square footage that I did, which was roughly around 240-ish, 45 square feet, it doesn't get it 100% slick, but it does help make it very smooth. And it's smooth enough that you would run around and slide on your socks like that. It won't hurt your feet or any of that stuff. But anyways, same way you apply it as we applied in part 1 and part 2. You mix it all, mix all of A, so that you don't get any non-good mixingness or whatever. You pour it out, use all the experience you did from the primer and the main coat. The way I did it was, I always worked from one corner. I always filled in the corners, or I used to cut in the corners, and then I would come out more towards the main area. And I used to pretty much, I tried to use the squeegee to spread it everywhere, and then I back rolled it with the roller that was included. So remember, if you get the primer, which is not default added into the kit, you actually have 3 layers of epoxy that you need to lay. And then when you order the application tools on the website for 15 bucks, you only get two layers worth of tools. And I recommend you highly add this application tools because it comes with spike shoes and a bunch of other stuff. And for 15 bucks, it's definitely worth it, because go try to find spike shoes somewhere else for less than 15 bucks. Just the spike shoes alone will be more than 15 bucks. Anyways, when you get the application tools, as we talked about in part 1, you're only really getting layers worth of two layers worth of tools to apply the stuff. Meaning you get 2 roller covers, 2 squeegees, 2 sets of vinyl gloves, and all that fun stuff. So when you get the primer, you're applying 3 layers. So you need to make sure you have an extra set on hand. Make sure you have all the tools. I tell you this in every video. Make sure you have all the tools before you mix the epoxy, because once you mix the epoxy, the timer's clicking. Okay, you don't have time to mess around and go look for it or go to the depot and buy it, because, anyways, it's going to be hard. So like I told you in my other videos, you just get a rag, get acetone, and wipe all the tools down. It's pretty good. The roller brush, don't try to clean that with acetone. You're going to spend more money on acetone than just buying one. But when you get the roller brush for your third application, make sure you get a high quality one. I went with the microfiber one with almost no shed. If you want to be just a little bit extra precautious, take some either painter's tape, duct tape, whatever tape you got, box tape or whatever, roll it around the roller brush just to get the little hairs off, and you'll be good. So the clear coat was actually probably one of the hardest ones to apply, even though you have more experience in this area, mainly because you're applying clear on top of like a gray surface. When you apply any color or any paint or anything, actually that's a different color on top of another surface, you can easily tell which parts have not been applied. When you're applying clear, it gets a little bit more difficult. Sure, if you look really closely, you can tell, but it becomes really difficult. So make sure you have a strategy and you apply it very well. Eventually, I figured out second or third time, pretty much the third time around, I was able to figure out the best way to apply it, which is pretty much just get pour it out as much evenly as you can, then try to move as much of the mixture, going back and forth, sweeping the mixture all the way back out and leaving a lot of the extra at an angle. So that way you can kind of move across the whole room and you don't have to worry about spreading as much. But anyways, this was a 250 square foot kit that I ordered, and I was trying to cover roughly around 245-ish square feet, and it came out almost perfect. There was enough space or enough left over that you could cover a little bit more if I wanted to. So when they say 250, they really mean, I don't know if maybe it's I did it really well. I'm sure I didn't do that because it's my first time applying it, but you can cover 250 with this kit. So I'll throw some pictures later, but here's pretty much where it went. This was about a few days after, about 2 days after, so roughly about 48 hours after I did that. Alright, and then we let it dry for almost 48 hours, and this is what it turned out to be. It turned out really good. I like it. I'm very impressed with it. Like I said, this is the first time I've applied any epoxy type coating or layer on anything, whether it's desktop or flooring or whatever it is. We've used epoxy glue a lot, but never a coating like this. So we're really happy with it. I mean, we're going to be using it in the basement. We're going to try to clean up some of the stuff to make it more of like a workshop type space, so we could do more working on there. And because it's in the basement, it's probably the best place to use this type of flooring, except like a garage or any of that stuff. Basement, you don't want to put anything like organic type material, like wood flooring, any of that stuff down there. Sure, you can put laminate vinyl or whatnot, but hey, who knows what's going to happen in the basement. So this is a good thing to apply. Let's talk about some of the stuff here. So this epoxy-coat.com kit, they didn't reach out to us. We were not sponsored by them. They didn't give us anything free. Nobody contacted us about this or whatnot. We just kind of came across this after doing some research of all the other products on this the internet that we could find, and other stuff that we've seen people personally apply. I've seen people personally apply Rust-Oleum epoxy stuff. And I wasn't very impressed with it. I'm not saying it's a bad product. I've never applied it personally, but I've seen people personally apply it, meaning I was there when they're applying it. But anyways, the point is that for the price, which is actually, I think it's a very, very fair priced item, comparing to some of the things that you see other people applying. I'm not going to name any names, but some of the stuff is really expensive, and this seemed like very high quality for the price for the price. And this is the 100% solid epoxy. Not all the epoxy is 100% solids, but if you are going to do any work on any flooring or coating, I'll definitely make sure you check out epoxies that are made with 100% solids. It doesn't have to be this company, it doesn't have to be any, or who it can be provided by anybody, but 100% epoxy seems to be the way to go. They're definitely more resistant to wear and all that fun stuff. But this kit, let me just talk to you a little bit about this kit that we got. It says made in USA. I'm sure that's great. If it, anyways, I'm not gonna talk about that. Everything you need to apply comes in the kit if you order just the kit and no extras. What do I mean by that? When you order just the kit, you get the installation tools. Meaning, if you paid 15 bucks, you get like some brushes that I didn't use. You get 2 roller covers, which I didn't used. Squeegee, you get 2 squeegees, which I used. Go back to part 1 and you go and look at it. You get 2 mechanical mixers, which I used. But if you get the primer, you add the primer for 75 bucks. Like I said in part 2, make sure you order this primer. Highly recommend it. It does a very good job of covering up and giving a great color reproduction. And also does the first layer coating minimize the air holes, bubbles, fish eyes, whatever. Definitely get it. For 75 bucks, you are going to be applying 3 layers: primer, main coat, and the clear. If you add the polyurethane, you're going to be applying 4 layers. Okay, when you get the installation tool through the kit, it only comes with 2 layers for 2 tools. So I'm not saying order 2 installation kits because I don't see a way to do so. I'm sure you could probably call them and do it, but just go to your home center and get 2 extra rollers. If you want to get 2 extra squeegees, go for it. I didn't do that. I just used acetone and a rag and cleaned it up, and I went in there. If you're going to be applying this in the garage that you keep open a lot, add like $22 or whatnot for the UV additive. I'm sure that'll probably help. And make sure you add the polyurethane because that's definitely better resistance to UV and stuff. But anyways, it comes with spike shoes. There wasn't a lot of instruction on that. We just kind of put it together using common sense and it worked out pretty well. It says no odor and no VOC, but one thing I noticed is there's definitely some kind of chemical smell or some kind of smell when as soon as you open the paint can that it comes with, you smell it. It's nowhere nearly as high as other paints and things that I smell, but it's faintly there, okay? So make sure you work with some airflow. If you're in an enclosed space and you've got no airflow, just bring a big box fan or whatever and just get as much airflow as you can up in there. So 100% solids epoxy, make sure you go with that. If you're going into a garage, definitely make sure you go with 100% solids. 100% solid epoxy definitely reduces resistance, or is definitely more resistant to like hot tire pickup. What that means is I know people who have applied epoxy in their garage and they drive the car in there, like for instance they're coming back from the store, grocery store, work, whatever it is, and you're driving probably 10, 20, 30, 40, depending on how long you get miles, and that tire is hot, okay? You roll up into the garage, that epoxy comes off onto the tire. Sure, it may not come off the first time. It may take a while, it may take a week, a month, a year, whatever. It'll start peeling off on that tire, especially if you have a tire that is not very temperature resistant. If you don't know what that means, look at the tire temperature rating. Usually we're not going to go detail about that, but the point is, make sure you take very good care of or prep for the flooring before you apply it, and then make sure you apply something that's 100% solids because that will help you the most. This has been a very good experience for me. This company seems to be based in USA also. I picked up the phone, talked to them 3 or 4 times. Everyone that I talked to seemed very helpful. There wasn't anybody who didn't know anything. They told me detail on what I need to do. It comes with aluminum oxide non-skid. What that means is it kind of makes the surface more rough. I didn't use that because I wanted to be able to clean it up easily with the Swiffer if I wanted to. You can use it. It does wear out, so I don't think you should use it. But if you're in a space where you're going to be slipping and sliding a lot, that's going to be very wet, probably good to use it. It also comes with 6 ounces of prep solution, and I think what that is acid etching. And if you're going to apply the epoxy, you need to prep the floor. And I would not use acid etching mainly because it's a chemical way to prep the surface, meaning it kind of tries to rough up the surface a little bit, cleans up the surface as much as possible, but that is nowhere going to be nearly as good as grinding or sanding the floor. I would definitely make sure you take the time to do that, because the coating and the durability is going to be a lot more dependent on how much you prep the floor. So I would skip that and I would go straight to the grinding. And then after you do that, if you have a way to get the water out, I would pressure wash it out. That seems to be the best way. If you don't, you need to do a lot of work to get the floor dust free. Okay, can't stress to you how important that is for the coating to be adhered very well. Okay, think about it. Paint, glue, whatever, it does not stick very well to a very dusty surface. It's common sense. All right, do that. The brushes that it came with, I didn't use. We talked about this stuff already, so we're gonna I'll just go over that. But anyways, I'll try to update you guys sometime in the near future how well it holds up. I'm sure you guys will see. I hope it holds up pretty well, since this stuff seems to be used by the United States government and Air Force and Honda and Universal and all these people. I'm sure it'll hold up pretty well. Doesn't seem to be marketed in residential, but hey, if you guys know anything, it's definitely better if you can do anything in the residential space. See what the commercial people are doing and take some tips or learn something from that. But hey, I hope this video helped you guys out. I hope this encourages someone to kind of do it themselves if they want to. We got quotes for companies, come on, do this, and it was more than 4 times the cost. All right, guys. So if you can do it yourself. And this is the first time I've done it, so if you have a lot of worries, fears in doing it, hope this video will encourage you a little bit. You can definitely do it. It's going to take a lot of work, and it may not be perfect results, but hey, if you can save, I don't know, 75% of the cost or whatnot, I'll definitely go up and do it. Just get some encouragement, put your Nikes on, and just go do it. Who knows? Hope this video helped you guys out, and then we'll see you guys next time.